How are we doing, everybody? Welcome to Russell Heritage Golf. Today we're going to be talking about should you hit the ball with body or arms. Now again, what we're doing this week and what I've done with the most recent videos is that I am kind of talking very general, right? So I'm talking about things that people tend to tell themselves, these stories that manifest themselves into movements. What we're also going to be doing on the channel over the upcoming few weeks is that we're going to kind of just be talking about definitive things that would happen in every golf swing. Now, like I've said, for those that have missed the previous videos, the idea of feeling your body rotating and an element of consciousness can be exactly the right thing, but it's not necessarily going to be definitively applicable to every individual. And this is why we tend to see different videos and all the rest of it. So, like I've been saying, the reality is that what would happen is if we sequence the downswing correctly, by the time we get to the club is parallel placed, the way that we actually hit the golf ball is that there'd be an element of downcocking of the club, there'd be an element of rotation of the arm, and there'd also be an element of opening of the lower body and an element of extension, right? And that's what I'm saying. We're going to break these things down so you can understand when you should be working on what and when. The reality is that the idea of hitting the ball from parallel with more rotation is like, well, it depends in what context you're putting it into. It's like, well, yes, you still want to keep rotating as you're extending in the hit, but at the same token, you don't necessarily want to keep rotating your shoulders because this would make you swing too much out to in. But then it would put it back into the context of somebody who's notoriously underplaying. It's like, well, their feeling of rotating would be completely applicable relative to that sort of person. So I think that's what I'm going to try and do over the upcoming weeks, is kind of put the balance in terms of the definitive things which are correct. So basically you can do some exercises at home and abide by the law of playing and understand how your hands and arms match up to playing, because I think that's a really good reference that you understand. If you're somebody that when you video your swing you still get caught under playing, then therefore the idea of staying more downward facing or rotating more would be completely correct as well. But what we're doing this week is that's why we're just talking about, I think sometimes why it can seem confusing to an amateur golfer, why one pro is saying rotate and another pro is saying get up. And the reason why is because I suppose a lot of it is depending who the video is applicable very much for and who that video is potentially aimed at. And sometimes it just helps people, even if it's an element of a placebo effect, getting a different feeling for hitting the ball. But I suppose I genuinely am trying to suggest that to get the best results consistently wise, maybe we need to just go back to the utmost of basics. So like I said, you know, what would happen by pre-impact is that you would have to downcock, you'd have to rotate to be able to get the club face square on the back of the ball. There would need to be an element of extension due to the fact that otherwise the club would plough in towards the ground, and you would continue to rotate your body because that would help you continue to bring the hands over the ball as you come in towards the hit, as opposed to necessarily trying to pull your hands and rotating. So we're going to break these things down into exercises. The point is, should you hit it with the body or the arms, be relative to the person. If you're somebody who is underplaying and you have a high rate of rotation with the club, then it seems completely understandable with the idea to continue to rotate. If that's a reality or not, no. So I suppose if you're somebody who's new to the game, then maybe it's worthwhile understanding exactly what should be happening in the best context that you possibly can. And if that's the case, then make sure that you press that subscribe button, press the little bell icon, because that's what we're going to be talking about in the upcoming weeks. Hit it with body, hit it with arms. If you're looking for a feeling, then it'd be very much relative towards your ball flight, I suppose, right? So if you're somebody who is slicing the ball and feel like you're getting over the top, then I can't see that there's a huge amount of harm trying to go on with the idea of rotating your arms more. The hesitation of just going down that route is that at what stage would you then fall into the category of the golfer who gets underplayed and has a high rate of rotation? Maybe it's more beneficial to try and work on the technique as best as you can. So make sure you don't miss any of those videos. Press that bell icon. Make sure you give it a thumbs up as well if you've enjoyed it. I'll catch you guys soon.